of normalcy and the numbness of mediocrity stiffens your passions. What that meant was, I was so sick of myself. I was so bored in my life, man. I was so tired of being mediocre. I was just tired of it, and it was all my fault. I was mediocre because I wasn't doing the things to be exceptional. You ever say to yourself, man, it's gotta be more to my life than this? If you've ever said that, that's cause it is. And you gotta get after that, man. You gotta go and get at that. If you don't do it, life becomes real normal and real mediocre to you. Now, there's nothing wrong with being normal, but if normal is getting on your nerves, then you got to change something. Being mediocre was driving me crazy. And it started when I was homeless, man, it just pushed me. Because I was sick of being poor. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Poverty, I was sick of it. I was up to here, I had enough. And homeless is a whole nother level of poverty. Not having a bathroom, a bedroom, a back door, a TV, a phone. You know, I was homeless in the 80s, man. There wasn't even no cell phones then. So I ain't got no phone, I ain't got no backyard. I ain't trying to be preachy or nothing, but that pushed me towards my faith.
It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable, it's lonely. You talk about that you were kind of, lonely by yourself. I was the same way. And that used to hurt me growing up. That's the only place to be.
Life is a war. And there are people out there and there are things out there that are trying to take you down. Things are gonna go wrong. And when things go wrong, it's pretty easy just to say, you know what, I'm gonna stand down or I'm gonna give up. And you can do that. But I think no. I think keep fighting. And you keep fighting, and you keep fighting, and you keep fighting no matter what. And you never quit. You never quit. And if you feel like your life is in a place where you can't get any lower, and you don't think you can find any way out, good. Because that means the ultimate challenge is ahead of you. It means you can only go up. And it also means that things are gonna be tough. Things are gonna be tougher than anything you can imagine. But that storm that you're in, from your perspective, it seems like that storm is enveloping the whole world. But I'm telling you, it is not. The storm that you're in, it is hard to see out of that storm. It's hard to see past it. It seems like the storm is everything. But the storm is not everything. But right now, you're being tried. You're being forged. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test. Don't fail the test. Don't ever quit. Fight on. Fight through the storm. Fight through the pain and come out the other side stronger and tougher and better. A survivor.
Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward in spite of it. I have to have the courage. And let me tell you something, most Americans don't have this kind of courage. I have to have the courage to stop making excuses. I can't, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, I'm too thin. I can't, right? I can't. I hear this all the time, all the reasons that you can't do something. Don't tell me you can't. Don't give me excuses. What's the reason you've given yourself why you can't be successful and you can't be better? Let me tell you something I've learned. It's way easier to blame someone else than to get honest with yourself.
Anytime you start something new, anytime you set out on a new path, anytime you move out of your comfort zone, you're gonna go through what is basically, if you could imagine, a bell curve of frustration, all right? Things are gonna you're gonna be excited, you're gonna be pumped, you're gonna have the momentum to carry you through the first 2 or 3 or 4 days. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's 3 weeks. It's different for everybody. But the point is that when you get excited about something, we have natural energy that pushes us through. But what happens when that energy fades? What happens when you start to get frustrated? What happens when you start to feel like a grind and things get grueling and they get gritty and they get tough and it gets harder to move through the process every single day? What happens then? Most people fucking quit.
But you cannot erase the work ethic part. There is no getting around. Ain't no elevator to the top. You got to take the stairs. The elevator don't go to the top, man. Not in the world of success. You gotta take the stairs.
The key with me is no one will outwork me. No one. I love and I respect you guys. Motherfuckers won't outwork me. All starts with this. 2 hands, putting in the work.
Stay encouraged. Stay encouraged. Keep your head up. Stick your chest out. Continue to walk with pride. And know if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not gonna be easy, but we have what it takes.
There's gonna be a lot of times y'all about to fail. We are all a work in progress. But in that moment, I want you to remember the power of you. You will change the world.
You must get comfortable with fear and failure. They must be your best friends. They're the only one that moves that needle of life. Every hero you guys had was called an idiot, crazy, a loser. You must break society's status quo. Safety, comfort zones are dead zones. You have to continue to push yourself because your true potential will never be matched, guys.
You thought for 1 minute that you broke me. You got me twisted. I am not phenomenally skilled, but phenomenally willed. I will not give up. I will not surrender. I will not quit.
Do that thing, man, that keeps you up at night. That thing that bothers you, man, that makes you trip. You can't quit thinking about it. You always, that thing, man, that you wake up in the middle of the night, you got a new idea. That's what you got to chase. Because anything else, it's gonna disappoint you. You're gonna forever be sad, man. If you don't chase that dream, you're gonna forever be miserable, man. I would hate to die and never do the thing I was born to do. That's a sad thing, man. That people they never chase because you got jobs and stuff and you listening to other people. I would, man, if I hadn't chased my dream, I wouldn't be here. If I listened to my mother and father, I'd have been a construction worker, just like my brothers.
You're in this storm and you're down on your knees and you're cold and you're weak and you feel like this is the end. You have a choice to either give up or keep going. Give up or get up. When you fail, try again and again and again. You just take one step at a time.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay in it.
I want to introduce y'all to this very simple concept. If you want it, you gotta go get it.
Discouragement can creep in secretly and tell you life is not worth living. If you listen at discouragement, you will wonder if you're ever going to get out of what you're into. There are moments that try the human soul so violently and so perplexing that if the truth were told, All of us have had moments that we wanted to throw up our hands and walk away.
It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, God, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to take care of my children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me? It was very hard. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream.
But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. And fear comes in. Just that fear paralyzes you. And I just want to ask you today, do you think you have hope? You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up. And it's not the end until you've given up. There's still hope.
What if all of us took that attitude after we face a rejection and a no, or we have a meeting and no one shows up, or somebody say, you can count on me, and they don't come through? What if we have that kind of attitude? The car's repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day, and say to yourself, it's not over until I win.
Everything's going to go south on you. Everything's going to go south, and you're going to say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin. You do the math. You solve one problem, then you solve the next one.
It's hard, but it's worth fighting. It's worth believing. It's worth mustering yourself up, standing up inside yourself. It's worth fighting relentlessly, never giving up.
What's the reason? What excuse have you bought into? What excuse have you believed that's not allowing you to live the life God's called you to live? I gotta have the courage to stop making excuses.
You know, the war that you have to really fight is the war against yourself. You have to take responsibility. You have to learn new things. You have to feel uncomfortable. Because discomfort is how we grow. That's how we become strong. If you run away from discomfort and resistance your whole life, you will always be weak. If you want to grow as a person, you really have to make friends with pain. Enjoy the struggle.
I found out it is not what they say about you that limits you the most. It's that you might believe them and start saying that to yourself. There were many, many, many people who said that I would never be anything. I just chose not to be one of them. And as long as it's not your mouth that says it, you can overcome theirs all day long.
I love the sun, but things don't grow because of the sun. You have to have some rain. And you've got to stop looking at rain in your life as something bad. My greatest moments didn't come from my greatest moments. My greatest moments came from my greatest defeats. Because it was during my defeat that I had to find a way to get back up.
It takes courage, it takes commitment, it takes discipline. These are all things that you need to have, because let me tell you this, when you do, magic is going to start to happen, baby. You'll start to move forward and achieve that thing. You'll start respecting yourself more. You'll start carrying yourself differently and think that you can take on the fucking world. But it all starts with honesty. Ask yourself what you've been lying to yourself about. Consciously admit that you've been bullshitting yourself about that thing, and do everything in your power to go out and change it. It ain't easy to do, but I promise you, it'll be worth it.
Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens. Well, winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture. You've never looked at yourself in the mirror and said, you let you down. Until you get to that point You let you down. You're not brave enough. You want to put it on somebody else. The reason why I'm not successful is because of my boss. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I'm not getting up on time. I'm not going to work on time. I'm not putting in 120% when I'm at work. You always want to blame other people. You always want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire. You just said you're giving 50%. You owe you an explanation. You owe you an explanation. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you? You need to tell you no more TV, no more snacks, no more desserts, no, we working out now. You need to tell you that you owe you something.